Chris DeBoard here for the Dirt Drop, taking a chance to be able to thank our sponsors for making this program possible. First, we do want to shout out Stage Wheels. Bill over at Stage is kind enough to be able to provide the Dirt Drop with not only support for the Toolworks racing program, the Dirt Drop podcast, but also has a discount code for anyone who wants to be able to purchase products on their website. Make sure to check out the description in this video for the code, the Dirt Drop, to be able to add for a discount on your next order. They ship wheels and merchandise out of Richmond, Virginia. You can find them on Facebook and Instagram at Stage Wheels and also on their website, www.stagewheelsna.com. Next, we want to be able to thank Velocita USA out of North Carolina for all of their support they do, again, for the Toolworks Racing program and the Dirt Drop podcast. They offer racing equipment from head to toe for all your safety apparel, custom pit t-shirts, and so much more. Make sure to check them out at velocita-usa.com or on their social medias, Velocita USA, Facebook, and Instagram. When you go to order, make sure to use the code TDD10, that's TDD10, for 10% off all Velocita branded products on their website. Last but certainly not least, wrapped in our Stage Wheels is Zek Nova Tires. Thank you to Luis Lands out of Florida with distribution in Chicago, greater metro area, and Toolworks also does support in the Richmond and Mid-Atlantic area for distribution as well. If you have any questions about the products Zeknova offers, be able to check them out as well. Zeknova US on Facebook and Instagram, as well as www.zeknovaus.com. Now let's get into our show. I have not one, but two special guests for you guys this week. This pair has really been doing a lot of great things. I was able to meet them a couple of years ago at Hyperfest, but since then, they've really been setting the world of drifting on fire, not just professionally, but also in Pro-Am, and they'll be on the circuit together, both in Formula Drift Pro and Pro Spec for 2025. So without further ado, I want to be able to introduce Team Hansen. What's going on, guys?
How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Again, thank you guys so much for being here, but I know a little bit about you guys, but let's be able to introduce both of you. So we've got Rudy, we've got Chelly. Tell us who you guys are and what you are to the world of drifting.
So, we are the only husband and wife team in Formula Drift right now. I think we're the second ones. I think Taka years ago was him and Yoshi, but in Japan, and then then Adam and Colette, but they're not married, so they don't get to fall in the same category as us, right? but yeah, we're super excited to be in Formula Drift together. That was like our number one goal, is to be able to go to the events together and drive together. And then my goal was to get into Formula Drift. I got there, and then she just wasn't able to drive. So then I was like, all right, we got to get your license, girl. So she earned her license last year, and that's going to be the next season's like role, because we're going to do that.
Awesome. Now, I want to hear about your guys' drift background, and obviously, Chelly, ladies first. How did you get started in drifting? And then Rudy, let us know how you did after her.
So Rudy originally started because obviously with two people, well, we were married already when we got into drifting. We were more going down the road of skiing and downhilling. And then we actually transitioned more into drifting after being out at SEMA. And his dad was competing at the Optima, and we heard the screeching of tires and the smoke, and so we went over there, and sure enough, Rudy got a ride along, and he was hooked. So
that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, I bought a
car a week later.
Yeah.
So.
Really?
Yeah. Well, that was the Corvette.
That was it.
Which actually was a car he built with his dad years ago, but he bought it from a friend who bought it from his dad, and so it kind of came back into our life. But yeah, Rudy originally started drifting for about 3 years.
What, before you?
Well, we started in probably 2016.
And in 2016, and then
wow,
really didn't even drive much in 16. And we just picked up the car, drove a couple events, and then 17 it was game on, and then halfway through end of 17. We switched. I wanted more angle and more power, so we just bought a already pre-built somebody's just car from California who honestly knew how to drift, because everything I changed that I thought I knew, I over time went back to the way he set it up.
Yeah.
Because he just knew. That's why I bought a car from California. I'm like, these guys know what's up, right? And I'm in Idaho. We didn't have anybody telling us how to do it. We were just like winging it in every which way.
That car really like taught him about drifting, because there's so many question marks, and this was like really just when I don't even think we had Instagram. It was like just Facebook, and you could find events on there, and we actually went to Brandon Whitnick's drift. He kind of puts on like a drift class, like where you can go and ask questions and stuff like that. So we did take part in that, but I think buying the car that was already built is kind of like, at that point you are just taking parts off and putting parts on that you break. So it really just taught Rudy a lot about how to build a car and how to really what like alignment. I mean, there's so many questions when it comes to what kind of car to have when it comes to drifting. So I think that was really good move, and that really made his driving level up quickly.
I find that a little bit interesting though, because I mean, most people, they go from S13, S14 to Corvette, and except you went in full reverse. I mean, the biggest thing obviously of having a pre-built car, but wouldn't you maybe see yourself in a Corvette pre-LS swapped car? I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, when we had the Corvette, everybody was against it. Like, except the only person at that time in the world war, people would mock us in a sense. Like, it was like the Corvettes don't drift. Why are you even out here with this? And it didn't drift at first. The first bit of that season, we got it in 16. It didn't drift any of 16. We took it out there, it would spin out, it would spin out, it would spin out. And Matt was drifting them, but that was it. And so we looked into them, and over the winter, I just put basically knuckle adapters onto it. I built them, and then extended the tie rods, went back out, and the car ripped. But ultimately, I wanted more angle, and I didn't have anybody to bounce ideas off of, and we wanted more angle, and I wanted a lighter car, and the car was light, but I wanted a little lighter, like I wanted a faster car, a faster drifting car.
Okay.
Then the C4 was fine, but it just, at that point, I had to do my own R&D to make it level it up. And whereas the other stuff, there was just more support. For 13s, there was all the support in the world, from Weisfab, just all the Japanese options, all the things in the world for them. So I bought a car for $9,500, had spares, had an LS, had a dog box.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? Like, the car was amazing. It had a bunch of wheels and parts, and like it was fully caged. It had a mil spec wiring harness. Made like 400 wheel, and at 400 wheel, I mean, it would have competed in 2012 in pro, and that time when I picked it up, it was a ripper. Like I would take it to an event, I can't say stomp anybody, but it would be in the top 5%, and other than like the pro cars. So pro cars showed up, I didn't have anything for it, but everybody else was like oogling and ogling over it, and it was like $9,500. Now that car's $35,000.
And I was just about to say that probably is an advantage to be if you didn't have this deal fall in your lap. I mean, your trajectory through the motorsport could have been completely different. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah. Like I said, it made his driving just go that much quicker. I mean, he got his license within like, I think, the first 3 years of drifting. 2020 maybe.
2020. I got my license.
That's about when I started driving as well. But
so I mean, So I mean, again, we're talking trajectory. I mean, you started messing with this Corvette, and you said about 16, didn't really drive it. 17, and we're already talking getting an FD Pro Spec license 3 years later. That really is unheard of, especially recently, unless you're 2,000 to 10,000 hours on a sim. I mean, stuff like that.
Well, that car still has the original motor, which is nuts. Like, we're just
still drive that car.
We just hold our breath every time. Like, is he gonna live through this event?
Yeah.
I mean, and he got his license in that car, so yeah. Its name is Honey Butter, and then I totaled it. So.
Yeah.
Well, so then, Shelly, do you drive that car?
It's a sad moment. I did. Yeah. So it's kind of like people might relate to this. It's like the horse that everybody learned to ride on. But yeah, like basically, we did Drift Week 1 around that time. That was 2020. I started driving a little bit in the Corvette, and then after that sad tragedy, we ended up going. I got the G35 from Luke Fink, and so that car taught me a lot. Like going to we'd go to Medford, Oregon, which is Drift Evolution puts on a lot of events like Back to the Future, stuff like that. They're doing Final Bout and everything now, but they have some awesome events out there, and that's really where I learned how to drive. Honestly, it's kind of a go-kart track with a really nice entry, and I started in Honey Butter a little bit, and then after the G, but it's a process because you have to get a truck and a trailer that can haul 2 cars, and because we were going to Salt Lake and I was having to tow my own car, and that's a 3-hour drive, so it gets a little tiring when you have to haul your own car and everything.
Two trucks and 2 trailers to every
More
event.
Money.
So
it's double the budget, double the gas. I mean, if something breaks, then you got a shuttle car, even a 1 hour or a 6 hour. It doesn't matter how long the drive is. That there's so much other stuff that people really don't think about. So Rudy, I want to talk about that real quick. Going so quickly into Formula Drift, I mean, that's very impressive. Just because the learning curve that you had to jump into very quickly, just to be able to get on par with some of these guys and gals who have been in that sport or in that realm for so long. What were some of the hurdles that you felt up front that were just really, really tough, but may or may not be as difficult now?
Oh boy, I mean, let's back up a little bit. Why my trajectory was so like a little bit faster? Like, I mean, simply said, we were doing 50 plus drive days a season, so we were just driving our brains out. Like we were doing. I mean, I'm lucky to have my wife that would do it with me, right? But after about 2 years of it, there was one event we went to, and I'm like, let's go to this next event. And it was every weekend, 3-day weekends, right? And so she's like, no, I'm going to go mountain biking. I'm staying home. And I looked over, I'm like, what? And she's like, no, she wasn't driving. So she's like, I'm just going to stay home, get some me time and reset. And I'm like, don't you want to drive? She's like, yeah, if I get to drive, I'm coming. And so boom, the light bulb went off. And like on the way to that event, I talked her into going. I'm searching for cars. I'm like, I'm going to buy her another like ready to go car. Yeah. And so that's when we bought her blue car. We called it Super Dog when we bought it, and it was Super Dog for about one event, and then we changed its name to Blue Balls because it kept letting us down.
Because it gets you real excited and then let you down right when you need it the most.
It was a ripping car. It made like
she has 2 days.
Like it made almost 500 wheels, so it ripped. And it was clearly faster than the other car, but it broke down and broke down and broke down. So it took us a season to like get all the bugs out of it, and then after that, then it was reliable. But
yeah, I won
Pro-Am license in it.
This year in it.
So I mean, like, trying to think of like the things that were the biggest hurdles. There wasn't. I mean, we were so used to traveling. Like I would say. If you're going to talk about what hurdles for most people are traveling, but we were doing it so much. We were going all over the country, like driving every weekend because that was I just wanted to get better. Drift Week 1 came, and I was like, Brandon Whitnick was going, and I'm like, I got to go on this. And I reached out to Chelsea. Actually, I saw Chelsea at an event.
Yeah, we were.
He says I could probably get you in. And I was excited to go, and we really didn't know each other from Adam, and then. I hit up Aaron Losey. Well, I didn't know it was Aaron Losey at the time. I just hit up that event, and he's like basically told Chelsea, no, this is only going to be the YouTube kind of group. And so I'm like, okay, I get it, right? So then I'm like,
I told you, I was like, he just doesn't know what
I'm going to bring to the table.
Yeah.
So I went out and got the car. Pulled it in. It was snowing. It was like January 15th.
No, they said like really we could only go if we brought.
Well, hold on. So.
Oh, okay.
So I pulled the car out of the snow, flat tires, got a trailer out of the field, set it on the bumper or set it on the back of the car like with the cinder block, no trailer hitch, and I says, "This is the car I'm going to bring."
Yeah.
And we had some '90s outfits, no top, Lexan window, no wipers, no heater, raised seats in it, like. It was a full blown race car, and he says and I sent him a video of us being pretty dorky and having fun, and he's like, "All right, if you'll bring that car, you can come to Drift Week 1."
Right, yeah.
He's like, "That will be some good content." So we're like, "All right." So we had 1 week to put a hitch on it.
There's like a foot of snow in our driveway.
Yeah.
We were in a Corvette convertible. We were like in our snowmobiling gear. It was so miserable. It was like, actually, it wasn't too bad because like we have the gear because we live here. But that night it was miserable.
We went through the Continental Divide with negative temperatures.
Yeah.
And it was cold.
I think once I just wore my helmet, I was like, okay, this is way better than my ski goggles and the hat. So
it was very cold.
Once we made it to Texas and stuff, it was
nice.
Yeah.
It was fun.
But we had studded snow tires and we got pulled over in Arizona and got in trouble for that, remember?
Yeah.
Just flinging all the stuff.
Oh yeah. So like what were some of the more like I'm gonna bounce this off of Shell too. What were some of the more things that were harder for us coming into Formula Drift for Pro Spec?
Oh, super hard. We had to build a pro car, and we've never built a car. And I mean, Rudy builds homes for a living, so he's pretty smart when it comes to building anything and high quality. But like,
I say that's the biggest hurdle.
Coming in, and you had a lot of issues with like a suspension issue because I think you had the radiator mounted.
We had the radiator mounted in not a good location, and I really didn't have any. Just like it was the first car I built.
Is really where you saw cars, and we just bounced a lot of ideas after going to FD since we have open pits. Like going there, and it was really funny because I remember being at the event in Seattle because he wanted to go to a few of the events, obviously as a fan to see what it was, and this is, we're not like. We're doing okay, but we're young, and it was you don't have a ton of money. We had 3 small children, and I just went through a really hard year of breast cancer, so like that took a ton of our money. And we're standing there, and we're in there, and he goes, "I'm gonna do this," and I'm looking around, and I'm like, "You're crazy! Like what? We're gonna do this? Like this is nuts!" And it's wild to even think now that we're both doing it. So
yeah,
but
I would say the biggest hurdle from that is like coming in with an untested car. Untested car with like no really support on any level whatsoever. Like every detail we had to figure out on our own, from rear radiators. I've never put a rear radiator in a car. Never figured out how to like cool it correctly. Tried to build an 800 horsepower motor like from a car that I bought before that made 400, right? So every single detail had to be like ironed out. So that was our biggest downfall. Like I could see somebody coming into even FD, like Colette did. Like she's not an idiot in the sense of why build another whole nother car up when you can just go buy a
car that's working
and rips, right? It's already got set up. We're building another car right now, but like she had seat time 5 months ago in her pro spec car. So like there's something to be said for that 100%. And
yeah, I think that's becoming more normal. I think with Pro-Am, I mean, my car seemed right in the middle, I would say, of Pro-Am, of the series that I did do. There would be, pro spec level cars, and then there'd be about my car, and then it'd be a little bit lower. But I think it's smart to try to get your car, get time in your car locally, especially if you're competing locally, because it's a lot cheaper to get through those kinks of the car and while you're in Pro-Am, and then you can always kind of beef it up again, right before you're ready to go to Pro Spec. So I think that
one thing you guys mentioned, especially where you're at, you say locally, it's, Idaho is not necessarily known as, one of the meccas of drifting in the United States.
No. We have to drive a ways to go drifting. Yeah.
We are drifting in Idaho.
Yeah. Well, exactly. So when it comes to the amount of like labor of love, when it comes to the prep of going to events, Rudy, obviously you're working, Shelly, you're doing your thing, family. What are some of the things that you can maybe as pointers to people who are in the grassroots side of things to maybe make their life easier when it comes to getting ready for events? When it comes to maybe 1 to 6 hours, one way to go in for an event.
Definitely change your oil before you get there. I can't believe how many people I see are changing their oil when I get to an event.
We are so prepared. Like we come home from an event, on the way home, I'm making my we leave the event. I make a I wouldn't call it a spreadsheet. I go to my notes, my phone, and I make like as I'm driving out of the event and everything's fresh, what the car wasn't doing, I'm making notes. And then we're always driving Monday because the friends are so far away. And then Monday morning, I'm on the phone like as she's driving, and I'm ordering parts so that they're there Wednesday, so I can put them on Thursday, so we can leave, load up Thursday, Wednesday or put them on Wednesday or Thursday, load up Thursday night, leave Friday morning to go to the next event, and that was our whole routine for like three plus years. So I like really being prepared, like when you went to the events, is exponential. Like we have like just from alignments to like full bolt checks, front to back, and like more so, I think making the notes on the way leaving the event was crucial, because if we weren't doing that, we would forget stuff, like, and then get to the event, you're like, oh, I just forgot about that little detail, and then you're
Right.
spending 2 hours the morning of dinking with it, especially if you're driving every weekend or trying
We
to.
each have like we take charge of where our skills are. So, you know, in order when it's this chaotic and you really don't have a lot of time, it really just comes down to, okay, what are you best at? What am I best at? I'll handle A, B, and C. You handle, E, F, G, and then it gets done. And if we keep that routine of the same person doing the same thing, and then obviously help each other if we need help, it tends to work really, really well. So it's kind of a balance of, just like I know my job as soon as we get home and what my job is. He knows what his job is in order to leave that next weekend. So it's just we've gotten in this like really, really solid routine, and I know that not everybody has that, and so that can be a little challenging.
PRI or in SEMA, I would say PRI all the way, 100%.
Absolutely.
PRI is awesome.
Yep, PRI is great.
Yeah.
If you want to go,
Yeah.
if you want to go look at race cars, or go look at cool cars, SEMA, sure, right? If you want to talk
Formula
to
Drift's
racers,
Formula Drift's a great place to go and talk
Yeah.
to companies too.
but yeah, if you want,
and other drivers, and, because a lot of the drivers like us, we already have like a discount code that the companies will offer, and then getting to know other drivers and that connection is always a really good connection too. And like the drift community is awesome. We're like one big family, and a lot of the companies really value that.
Yeah. No, I want to plug PRI too, just because, well, Jim Lau's, general manager of PRI too, and, he's, Mr. FD with Ryan Sage. But also, again, you guys are walking down the Broadway and PRI. I'm walking down the Broadway. You've got YouTube celebrities, TV celebrities, you've got other drivers, you've got this worldwide thing, and just being able to have conversations that you can't have anywhere else, maybe outside of Formula Drift or SEMA, and it's very relaxed.
I wish they had added day, honestly.
My feet can only take so much, Shelly. My feet can only take so much walking.
Well, if we had another day, we wouldn't have to be on them for all three every moment, right?
Yeah.
I could totally take another day. I feel like
I think I did like 26 miles or something like that over 3 days. It was definitely rough, but part of having that sponsorship conversation is, of course, social media. I like what you guys have been doing. I've seen a huge shift in your social media stuff in like the last 24 months. Again, you doing double duty last year, Rudy in Pro and Pro Spec. Again, whatever you guys did, I really like it. But can you kind of add of how you've had to change your social media approach just to be, not sponsors aside, just to be more relevant when it comes to attracting the right kind of attention, and then just being, part of the conversation when it comes to people to watch and drifting?
I'm gonna step back here a little bit too, because I don't do any of my social media.
Yes, you do.
I do very, very.
Just the bad parts.
I love his videos. I love his videos talking about the car. Him talking about the car and doing the little stuff. My favorite videos. Gold.
Right.
Okay, so we're really fortunate. Like we had this kid Jackson who grew up at the Utah track with his mom. She works there. And she's one of the higher ups at the track, and he is just this phenomenal, talented kid. And I'm actually a watercolor painter, professional watercolor painter.
Oh.
So I sell my paintings all over the West. And
Wow.
yeah, and so I have like an eye for that, for artists. And I was like, dude, you need to be at FD. Like when you're trying to be better at something that you have, like if you face the fear and are, have the courage, and you just go to something that might be way over your head, but like surround yourself around people who are way better than you, your level, of talent will just skyrocket. So it was like, I was like, you need to come to FD. This would be awesome for you. And so he came with us, and he was on our team last year, and he handled all Rudy's social media. And that took a huge pressure off of me, because I'm so busy with running the merch tent, keeping everybody fed, and handling the team. So it was really nice to have him do that. And and then we also had another photographer, like his good friend Chen Media, and his photos are amazing as well. He's super talented, just as talented, and they're really good friends, and they just work together with our videographer, who's actually from the East Coast, so Alpha JDM. So they would just all work together super well. They would come in and they'd all collaborate on what media they had, and they would get stuff posted, and I was just blown away. Just blown away.
So they would do all of our socials for my socials for Formula Drift, and he did take over on my page, and that was super, super nice. And then we get home, and then obviously because I'm building the cars, it's easy to, the things that you're just, I'll be honest, like I'm the tips and tricks that I'll get out are stuff I'll learn sometimes the day before, and I'm like, I wish I would have learned this now. And I'm like doing it on my car. I'm like, come out here and record this stupid thing.
Yeah.
Like this helped.
Each other.
Yeah.
I go, Rudy, you should share that with people, because
It's so helpful, and a lot of it's from Rome. Like Rome does a lot.
Mhm.
Like he'll tell me things. So like we'll have a meeting with him. He'll be like, do this, do that, do this. I'll take one or two things from him. I'll apply them, and like, okay, yeah, we need to like tell the world about it, right? And he used to do a lot more of that. I think he's kind of backed off on his stuff a little bit, but like, I mean, every time I talk to somebody who's just simply said better or more versed in it, I'll apply it and want to share it with the world, because I feel like that's really what people are looking for on Instagram anymore.
Well, with yours,
with mine, I mean,
social media, especially.
even me, I get so sick of watching two cars drifting in the corner, blah blah blah. It kind of, it's fun, but unless the car starts on fire, blows up, hits somebody, rolls over, or it goes into the crowd, you don't even stay on the video, right? So like,
may or may not go into the wall at FD Long Beach, or just
right,
something simple like that.
right. Then you don't get any views. So it's like, let's just talk. And it's not about the views; it's about really like helping everybody out.
I honestly, this is my whole take lately with our social media is just when I feel it in my heart to post something that I think is easy and it flows well. That's what we do.
That's what we do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel the heartfelt content, like the shooting from the hip, may do better than some of the structured stuff, or what's the time and place for stuff like that as far as your experience going?
Yeah.
I mean, they both have their place, right? We owe it to our sponsors, but also we've also kind of set it back to them in the sense, like, if it's not flowing, like, good example, ACT Clutch. They have been behind us from the very beginning, 7 years behind us, right? But it's like I've said to Eric, I'm like, your clutch is under the car. How do I post about this thing, right? And so until the clutch comes out, I can't make a post for you. Until the clutch goes back in, I can't make a post for you. But on the same note, we still, because they've been with us for so long, like, I'll try and like reinvent the wheel, and I have foot cams on the clutch, and then we have the sticker behind the clutch pedal, and I'll still try and make videos, right? But simply said, back to the whole like statement of that all is, until the part's really getting worked on or replaced, it's hard to really make a video. We have over 40 partners that we work with, so
wow.
sometimes like, Bricks Lights, they make the headlights for the S13s. Their mic is amazing, right? But like, sorry, but like, sometimes if the light doesn't get blown up for 6 months, you don't get talked about for a minute. Like, we're going to talk about whatever we just had to replace that weekend, because that's what's most relevant for the moment, because everybody helps us and we love everybody, but like, 40 posts for, like, even on an FD weekend is a lot. I can't create that much media.
Well, and not everybody wants to always see like exactly like a product
thing. It's
like a commercial.
Yeah, nobody wants a commercial.
I like to do it when we're doing something with the part.
It's real.
It just flows better. It's more natural, and I feel like all our partners agree. And so that's just, I mean, because that's the whole process of it all, right? Is like, people really look at Rudy's media because he builds his cars. So, and that's huge. I mean, and like, everybody has their way of doing it, and we could always probably do better at it, but it is just pure survival over here, like with us just trying to get everything done, let alone make media as well. So we just do our best.
Social media has been doing great things over here on the Mid-Atlantic for Drift Appalachia, Run the Mountain and these wonderful things. This last year, there was something similar in Utah that you, Rome, and a couple other drivers were a part of that I don't think got enough visibility because it just wasn't talked about as much. Can you talk about what they're doing in the I guess the mountain roads of Utah and I don't know, maybe Idaho?
Yeah, so Bobby did that. Actually, I didn't get to go. We were busy doing some other stuff. We were planning to go to the one that got snowed out.
Well, we were at like college.
But yeah, Bobby and actually both of my crew members for 2024 started a series, OIDC, which is a 225 tire, and it's a type of a jam session event. And then they also did the Toge events up in Cedar City. That thing was that was phenomenal. I definitely had it on my schedule to go. We didn't get to make it there, but we were scheduled to go there this last winter, and then it snowed out. So we're planning to make it there this next season. But they've been Bobby's been pushing really hard to get that all. Honestly, I think OIDC is gonna come down to Boise, and they're gonna do some events. I think they're going to Medford. So he's really branching out and trying to bring that type of series, which is more of a jam style event, which is
it's like a comp.
a calm style jam style event. So it's more driving,
a lot more driving
for the drivers.
Like
so
really good practice to get into, like going into Pro-Am. It's like
That's the one. That's the one. There's a 215 and a 235, or is that a different?
No, you're right. Maybe 215. Excuse me.
I mean, a 215 series is. I mean that's scary just to think about. I mean, you've got guys that want to be able to run these high horsepower cars. I mean, but NA BMWs, stock is 350Zs, and kind of getting in that competition mindset without having to have major budgets, all these kind of programs. I mean, there's something to be said about these small tire comps. What are you guys' thought on that?
It's awesome.
I think it's awesome because we spend so much money on tires these days. It's like it's annoying, right? And then if you're not having to switch out tires so that you can actually just drive, I think it's phenomenal.
They get so many laps in, even
hundreds of laps.
It's a different. I haven't really put the time in to learn the exact way they run it. But from what I've heard, it's you get lap after lap. It's not like, okay, you go straight qualify and then you go to and if you don't qualify, you don't run. It's not like that. So
it's not 2 laps and then put tires on.
It's kind of like somebody who wants to compete but doesn't want to spend $10,000 a weekend.
Right.
So it's so cool to have that option, and it's been super popular, and they're crushing it, and super happy for them. So
now, not just having the Toge stuff, you also put some stuff most recently on your socials that I was really happy about. Ice drifting. People see a lot of, Frederick does it when he goes home overseas, and he is fantastic in those Supras, but the American version of it, I thought that was really cool. Can you explain how that came into just, to happening and how much fun that was?
Oh, you.
Yeah. So where did I see it? I think I probably was watching Freddie. And then I looked a little more, and then I saw Texas Street Academy was going to Minnesota, and I'm like, why am I not drifting in Idaho? Like everybody else in California is drifting. So then I looked into it, and Valter's my good buddy who's on the Sorensens. He's the media for Sorensen and at Formula Drift.
And for us too. He does.
And for us too.
Mm-hmm.
I reached out to him, and he's from Latvia and had done some ice drifting, and we talked about it a little bit. And so I'm just kind of like when I was trying to build my C4, I was just reaching out to everybody. How do I do this ice drifting thing, right? Where do I buy tires? Where do I buy this? What's the best option? And everybody's like, well, the first thing you need to do is find a lake that you can actually get onto. Well, I didn't find the lake. I just ordered tires. So we found some. Actually, I found if I could find the company that had these tires that we got, we ran them for 3.5 years. The first set we got, and they were phenomenal. Yeah, we got 6 events the first year, 6 drive days, six drive days the first year, and then 4 the next year, and then 6 or so. So I think I got 15 or so drive days on this set of tires. Whereas now I got some tires this season that only got 1 drive day on them. I think that's the level of driving that we're trying to push through the cars now. We're driving harder, we're pushing them more. But I just was I was just envious of everybody doing it. So I ordered them up, and I hit up Valters, and I'm like, we're going ice drifting. He's like, did you find a lake? And I'm like, I'll find it. He's like, oh, dude, you're not going to find a lake. And the biggest issue is getting on a lake. And it was we started looking around, and the biggest part is trying to get down the ramp with enough least amount of snow to get onto the lake and have it that section where you get onto the lake. That
nobody drives on the lakes here. It's not like Minnesota. Right. We have a lot of thermal activity because we're very close to Yellowstone. So you have to be very careful about what lake you are gonna, if you're gonna drive on it, or take a snowmobile on it. It can't have thermal activity, or it could be really unpredictable.
So I did a bunch of research. I actually called up the Fish and Game and the Forest Service and figured out which lakes had it. And then there was just about really my crew chief, which was Jim, and I had another buddy. And before I knew it, we all kind of spread out and went to each one of the lakes, and we found a reservoir that we could drive down the ramp, and that was game on. And the first year the tires showed up, we went out there, and the whole lake was just like blue ice, no snow on it whatsoever.
Perfect.
And it was like a parking lot
Wow.
drifting, honestly. And so it was fun, but at that point we didn't have can't say the level of cars. We didn't really wrap our head around it perfectly. So it was like parking lot drifting, which then was
we
good.
got cones out, but it was frozen, so then they would just explode,
Explode.
and it was like, and then we tried tumbleweeds, and we just spray paint them a little bit.
Yeah, we bought. We go get tumbleweeds and spray paint them. And in hindsight, it was fun for the first few years, right? But now, the level of doing it is definitely increased. We got a plow.
Yeah.
We go out there. And cold cutters has got us with some good screws, and those things are super grippy. Shout out to those guys. And now we plow the track, which makes it more not consistent.
Well, it has
more technical, which is better.
You can create a layout.
You can create a layout.
You can bump off kind of the stow edges, which is like the.
It's like running the walls. You can feel the wall.
It'll move your car.
You can get into the wall and you just continue to ride. Just stay right on the edge of the wall, feeling it, digging, like barely skimming the snow.
Get stuck in the wall.
So
it's fun.
That has been like the next evolution of our driving. Like this year we went to Sweden and drove with Olaf in Sweden, which is also Freddie's coach. So for most of you don't know, he's coached a couple of the U.S. drivers, Rome and Freddie, and Shelly was lucky enough to jump on board with him, and he's been coaching her. And then he reached out to her and said, "Come to Sweden," and we're like, "This is a Thursday night." I'm like, "All right, let's do it. Let's go." You don't get offered this every day. Because Freddie couldn't come and Rome couldn't come. They had plans change, and so we flew in. We drove for a week.
And he had cars ready, track ready. Yeah. He's like, just pay for fuel. We're like, okay, we can do that.
Yep, we got there. We shredded for a full week. We got 5 or 6 days of driving with him, and then the day we left, he had a foot of rain on his track. So it was like the perfect window. Yeah. We arrived.
That's the thing with ice drifting. It's really based on weather.
Yep. When somebody says come, it's like powder chasing. Yeah. You drop if you really are, if you ski or you drift, you just stop and leave and do it because, good example, we got home, our ice drifting was not going off, and we left and we were like, I want to ice drift. Had we had drifting at home, we may or may not, we probably would have still went there because of the teaching aspect of it all.
Of course.
But we got home and I looked at our schedule and we were negatives all the way around, day and night. I'm like, all right, let's go. Nice. So we hooked all of our stuff up. 2 days later, we were ice drifting, and we've been ice drifting ever since. So the 15th of January. So we did 5 days with Olaf, and then we came home and we've got 14 days straight here in Pocatello. And we've driven every single day. And then yesterday,
except for Saturdays, because we can leave that for the ice fishermen.
Yeah, they get kind of mad.
They get kind of mad at us. Some of them. It's like a 50-50.
So yeah, I'm not kidding. Anyway, so with that, we've been driving our guts out, and now it's all of a sudden got warm, and we're done ice drifting. Parked the cars yesterday. Today we're back at it, working on the pro car back in the garage. Knew that we'd only have about 10 or 12 good days of drifting, and drove every single day. And I think we were doing we did about fun. 3 days per set of tires for the shitty tires that we had. And then we got the cold cutters, and they have a lot more grip, but we got a few more things we've got to iron out on those to make them work right, because we're still pretty abusive to the tire. So I got to figure out the correct
We have 2 G35s.
The correct torque for the tires.
We ice drift.
Yeah.
So, and then mine, I don't even really have a handbrake in it, so it kind of forces me to really left foot and really control my car all with throttle and left footing. And he likes his handbrake. He's got a handbrake in his car, but our cars both drive really different.
Yeah.
And
one's Luke Fink's old car, and then we bought another one with just knuckle adapters. That's all we've done to her cars: knuckle adapters and field coilovers, and just been beating the heck out of her car.
I love it though; it rips.
Yeah,
it seems like it's Idaho ice drifting is like the Idaho sim. Because I mean, you could get tons of laps in, minimal time, tons of fun, reset button, open wide, like you said, parking lot drifting. That's almost like that. That's how it's processing in my brain. Am I off track on that?
Well, now it's not parking lot drifting anymore. Now it's like full on course drifting. Like
Okay.
he's running. That was like round like year one for us. Now it's like a full course, 3-foot banks. If she gets into the bank, her car recorrects, it smashes into my car. So like she has to run the line perfectly, and
It's taught
it's more
me,
committed.
yeah, it's the difference is like you out there in your more expensive, your fragile paper mache rocket ship cars and everything just kind of breaks. These cars you can really practice your entries and being on each other's door and your transitions, because even if you bash into each other, your tie rod's not going to just break right away. It's like it's it's a lot easier to really just go and just kind of really
I'll
push
hit,
yourself to drive more aggressive and know that it's okay to do that.
I'll hit her 5, 6, 7 times a lap.
Oh yeah, he hits me like
I'll
he's
just,
like
I'll
he
just.
tells me to hit him all the time, and I'm like, what? Like this doesn't make sense in my brain to hit you. Like
You big bully.
yeah, so I get like up on him, and I'm like, tink, tink, tink. He's like, boom, boom.
I'll push her. I'll push her into the snowdrift. I'll be like, "Boo!" He's like
Oh, he
3 or
just
4 times in the drift.
tires down, and he just drives up to me and pushes me.
Well, you guys.
Honestly, people get the opportunity. They need to go. They need to go ice drifting somewhere. It's my funnest drifting of all time.
Well, it's really cool because we can take people for rides, and it's really affordable. Like it's just gas to get out to the lake, and it's about an hour from our house. So it's just our kids can drive. We let
Yep.
anybody drive. Anybody can get in the car and drive it.
Our friends show up.
So
We throw them in the car.
yeah,
Just
we're
go
like,
drive.
yeah, and it's funny because they're get scared, and you're like, just go. Let's just go drive around the track.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Worst
So-
thing is you'll hit a snowdrift, and we just got to push the car out, and we get it back on track, and life is good, right?
Yeah, that's the truth. Like but like even at Medford, I don't want to let anybody in the car because you know that you'll probably come back with a car that you won't get to drive the rest of the day. Like high possibilities. Drifting in the ice is not that way. It just things don't. There's not a lot of things that can go wrong that will end the weekend. A lot less maintenance. There's a lot. It's just 10% less stress on the car, so the cars don't typically break. So
Interesting.
we
I'm definitely not as familiar with the Idaho drift scene, unfortunately. I was trying to do some stuff. I mean, I saw some of your socials that you guys were doing non-drifting events. Like there was a car show inside of a mall that I saw you guys were a part of. You took the pro car out. And what's it like being a drifter in Idaho when you're talking to either other car enthusiasts or anyone? I know you mentioned Medford a couple of times. Just describe the Idaho drift scene at a grassroots level.
There's no Idaho drift scene. Well, there is. You go to Boise. Boise has some stuff going on. Anthony Barnes has been really pushing hard the last couple of years. But
Apex,
Apex Drift, Drift Idaho. But prior to that, I mean, when we were before we got our pro license, before I got my pro license, we were going to Magic Valley, which is 2 hours away.
Twin Falls, yeah.
And they have a circle track there, so there's a nice bank there. Very small facility, and about 3 times a year that there would be an event. And then there was nothing in Boise. So really, up till 2022, 23, there was really only one venue 3 times a year. That was it. That's why we kind of got used to driving so much. We would go to Walla Walla, to
Medford,
Medford, California, Albuquerque,
Wow.
Phoenix.
We would go, to go to Tucson.
Go to Tucson, Musselman, and then all the way down into by Balcony, and then Horseshoe. So, like simply said, there isn't much in Idaho. But then Anthony's been pushing it harder, and now they have 2 tracks in Boise and 1 track in Twin, and now they have about 30 or 40 drivers. But if the truth be told, I haven't been to a single one of the Idaho events in 3 years. Not one.
Okay.
We're really just north of Salt Lake, like over the border. So it's actually closer for us just to go down to the Drift Buffet events. in Salt Lake, and it's pretty cool. Terry Henderson, he's started Drift Buffet, and he's been able to get us on the road course, which is like insane, and also on the kart track. He's the one who brought FD to Salt Lake. He's been making like huge moves. He's actually a pretty OG guy in the whole drift scene. Like he competed in FD back right when it was beginning.
Yeah.
So
who's this again?
Spent a little more time in Salt Lake doing the FD course.
And who's this again for FD or for Salt Lake?
Terry Henderson.
Yep.
Terry
Okay.
Henderson.
Yeah. Absolutely. So,
Yeah,
did you guys the same? Okay.
Yeah, reach out. Look under Drift Buffet. Terry Henderson's putting on an event. There's going to be the winter solstice, summer solstice, and fall solstice, which will be a pro-am, not licensing series, but they'll have a scouting series there. And the events are super good
on the FD track.
So you get to drive 100-mile-an-hour entries.
I have a video on our social media about all the three layouts on the road course that he does, and they're super cool. Like there's 3 different layouts, so you go out on the main course and you can hit one layout. It's like 3 turns, and then you slow down, and then you go to the next one. It's more of like altitude. It has like elevation change, and it's a blind turn.
It's called the altitude.
It goes up and down, and then the FD track. So like you could turn around and drive the section again, or you can go to the next one, and then that's usually when you need tires anyway. So you kind of go do a whole lap and then come back in. It's pretty sweet.
Wow. All of them are almost really high speeds.
Yeah, high
like
speed.
6 layouts because you could run 3 both ways, and then you run it at reverse and stuff like that. Is that also? Does he also put on the event the Sunday after FD Salt Lake?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. You guys drive that when you can? I mean, if you're already there.
Oh yeah, we brought 70 tires to FD Salt Lake last year.
Well,
stressful time
of
the year.
You're like, it's going to be the local track. It'll be easy. Yeah.
We let our team drive.
Yeah, we bring all the cars for the team and our kids and everybody. So
all my friends are there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, when you're doing prospect though, like that's the end of the season. So if you're already there and you're a couple hours there, if that's your home, it's like this is the grand finale. Like let's go out with a bang.
Yep.
Yeah.
We got to sleep at our own house the night before.
We come in with 2 trailers. We come in with our wedge, which is a 3-car hauler, and then our FD trailer. It's called 2 cars.
So we brought 4 cars, 70 tires, 2 trucks, like a whole
every wheel we have.
Every wheel and then more, right?
It takes like a minute to load up for that, and like we are so fortunate. We have some really awesome locals that come and help us load up and change tires and help get the cars ready, and it's just super awesome. So
being able to drive fun events, especially having to balance them in an FD schedule, I know is probably a huge just additional thing in the fire, because you've got sponsors that you want to make happy, you've got content that you want to get, you want to be able to go. You guys are no strangers to traveling. What are your top 3 non-FD? What are your top 3 like fun festival events that you like to drive or that you want to drive?
Bash the Future, which Medford, No Coast, and then VIR. Those are my 3. And then I might add 4. Winter Jam. Winter Jam's is really phenomenal too.
We haven't
No Coast. That's Officer Dan, right? Down in
Winter Jam is Sonoma with Farouk. Officer Dan is Albuquerque. No Coast.
No Coast, yeah.
And VIR, you know that one.
Hyperfest.
Hyperfest, yeah.
That is a cool event.
And they all have their different vibe. If you want to just be like no rules, go to Officer Dan's. If you want like
there's rules now because he owns the track. It's changed.
Yeah.
It's changed.
But that one's kind of
Medford just has so many cool fun events, and the community there is super cool. Like that's just and then like
for us, that's our hometown track in a lot of ways. We've probably done the most events ever in Medford, and they treat us so good, and they're so kind. Their facility is so nice.
Yeah, it's
and
great to camp at. Walla Walla is really cool too.
Yep, Walla Walla is really really good. But I love the vibe there. I like the camping. They had like over 200 drivers there at Bash to the Future last year, and we didn't wait in line. At VIR, I waited longer I got less laps at VIR with less people than at Medford at a smaller facility with more drivers. But We drive at 10 in the morning till 12 at night.
I think it's 4 days too.
Wow.
Yeah, we're just driving.
No, 3 days.
It's no, you get it.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So
Thursday night.
It's 4 days of driving.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you drive under the lights at night,
I think
all
till,
of the
like,
nights,
midnight.
except for Sunday.
Of course.
And yep, and he's just super super nice, and the comps are they say I take them a little too serious, but that's me.
They do a team tandem comp that we always do at Bash
Yeah.
to the Future.
But they're just such a fun vibe, and we get treated like kings there because we've come there for so long, and yeah, we love that place. We love those guys.
It's just like a family vibe too. It's just a great.
The party at night, but it's not like Albuquerque. If you want to party, go to Albuquerque.
Albuquerque, don't take your kids to that to No Coast.
I've had some stories. I've actually got Dan coming on the show in a couple of weeks. I'm looking forward to all the wonderful things that I've heard, the rumors, and everything that go along.
Ask Dan.
No, don't ask him. Don't ask him. Him and Rudy and Bobby.
Me and Bobby, yeah, we got.
Rudy and Bob's
I had to call him, apologize for a couple of the antics, but I'm only
gosh.
I've got to back myself up to say that I only was antagonized by him to do what I did. So, if he says anything, you could just relay to him that he told me my burnouts were lame. He said those were lame burnouts. So
then Rudy showed him his true burnouts.
showed you my true colors, and then
Oh my god! If it's not on social media, it didn't happen. So then it gets buried, in the rumor mill. But talking about competing, Chelly, obviously you have your FD license that you earned this year. What was your big drive to? I know you were competing and doing stuff with Rudy before. What was your big drive to? All right, I'm taking this seriously. I'm doing these rounds, and I want to compete next year in FD.
So I started out in Hot Pit the year before, and actually I did round 5, the very last round before last year, that year, right? That's when I totaled Honey Butter, wasn't it?
I don't remember. It's one of those.
I've never driven a bank before, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna do it, and then I qualified really well. I qualified like 7th or something.
Okay.
And I was driving really well, and then but that car is just really not set up to hit any kind of wall with. And then I also hadn't ever experienced like hitting a wall and what to do when you do, and so I just had word of mouth, which was floor it, and so I floored it. But where I hit the wall so happened to be right before the exit. So when I floored it, I just floored it into the exit, into the other wall. It was just a bad situation. But I got on the sim after that, and the sim taught me a lot about hitting walls. So I hit the wall twice after that and didn't total the car. So
I still want to hear what's your motivation to want to do all this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like with Hot Pit, with Rudy and I feel like drifting has always been an us thing. So with going to FD and like the whole competing, I just felt like down in my heart, I just always know I could do it. I really enjoy learning and challenging myself. I really enjoy, like, I just have a really hard time saying no to anything as well. Like, I just really love drifting in the bottom of my heart. I really, it's almost like a dance to me, and I feel like every track kind of has a rhythm. I don't think for me I could be the type of racer that is just goes fast with 30 other drivers are surrounding me. That's not really me. But when it comes to like the drifting, it just clicks in my head. I just love it. I love the momentum, the feeling of the car, really feeling out, the calculations of what you have to do within that 30-second run. And I just know that when I started doing Hot Pit, I just really liked it. I really liked the competing part of it. I'm not super scared of it. Like, I do get a little nervous, but at this point I feel like now that I've pushed myself through getting over fear and challenges in certain competitions, that it's made me prepared for where I'm going.
Interesting. Now, I mean, everyone has different path, same destination, right?
I just
But
love all of it. Like I love this.
She's really competitive when it comes to the girls, though.
What the like two girls,
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
like
no,
one two
she's just
girls.
she's like when I line up with the girls, I just want to beat them.
Oh yeah, like when Hoppet, when I finally get a girl to go against, and I'm like, so then I was like, I gotta start thinking of these guys as girls, and then I'll be more competitive. Because like sometimes like that is the problem, you know. I'm kind of I just kind of there because I just really I I just love it. I just love everything about it. I love the smells. I love the sounds. I love the track. I love sleeping in the trailer, even though some nights I might not. But I mean, I just love the traveling. I love the honestly the community. Like it really, really just everything feels right, and that's where I'm supposed to be. So I love getting in the car with other drivers. You asked me how I kind of got into learning how to drift. Well, at Medford or even at Drift Week, I would ride with all these good drivers, and then I would drive a little bit, and then I'd go and ride again, and then I'd drive a little bit, and where I was having trouble on the track, I'd watch how that driver did it, you know, or um, ask, hey, can you come ride with me, and just tell me what kind of give me some pointers of what I do well and what I'm not doing well, and then you know it's just a series of all the guys I have been so supported. You know, even at Hot Pit, I was pretty scared to be like standing in that hot pit line and going, "Hi, I'm Shelly." Like, you know, like they're like, "Yeah, okay," and I'm like, you know, and you're a girl, and they're like, and then we got there, and I'd actually do pretty good, you know, and they're like,
mm-hmm.
"Okay, she can drive decent. Like I could be on her door," and so it's just kind of slow steps of building that confidence and like the whole team. I get to use my creative side in our merchandise and doing social media, which I really enjoy because I am a very creative person. Like the suits, everything, the car liveries, all that stuff. I just love all that. And then I've since I totaled that car, that's what really got me into learning how to build a car because before it was so over my head. I grew up with like racing sled dogs and riding horses and stuff. So like this the whole motor I didn't grow up with any kind of motorsport. So like Rudy kind of grew up in that world. And so he's kind of taught me everything that I do know, but because I wrecked that car, that really made me feel like
She had to fix it.
it was my duty to fix it, like reshell it with him, you know, and I was up there every night doing it with him and I really liked it like a lot. Because before it was kind of hard to be up in the shop. I'd kind of just get yelled at and like, like not doing things right and not knowing what tools what, and then but
now I
then
needed some help, so it was then and she owed it
yeah
to the car,
yeah
which is good. It taught her like what it really took to put that thing back together. Like
well,
it
and then
was a
I
whole
know how to
winner.
fix stuff now, like when certain things break.
Yep.
I don't know a ton about motors and that complication that, but I can like replace my axles and like tie rods and stuff like that, so
Right. You definitely brought up something I want to touch on because I was going to bring it up earlier, but other forms of motorsport or physical disciplines, any kind of sports activities. What are some of the things that either of you or both of you drew from that maybe helps make you a better drifter?
well, downhilling for sure, because if you're not right on that person's tire, like you're in the dust. So same with
Now
drifting,
you're
right?
referring to which downhill sport? I'm sorry.
Oh, like downhill mountain biking.
Okay. Yep.
We did that for a while.
Yeah, I was like one of the only girls that was really out there at that time period, like really sending it, and doing like the Red Bull courses and stuff like that. So that was like, we're gonna hit this jump, Shelly. If you break, you break your body. So it's like, like when you're gonna throw your car on a bank on an entry, if you hesitate, like you're gonna total your car. So it's like a lot of that kind of translated really easily. Like when I'm standing, if I'm at Telluride and I'm standing, on a line that a no fall zone, like if you fall, you go off a cliff and it's not good. So it's the same thing. It's kind of like take a deep breath, focus, like
Right.
For me, it was like a snowmobiling. Snowmobiling, you have to calculate the turn 30, 40 yards prior to it, and set up to it before, and then like really your mark is like way in the distant, like it's there, but you're still looking at your other marks to get you there, and it's way calculated that way. Same with drifting, you're looking at that like it's a balancing act. It's really similar. Like, and then motorcycles, same way. Like whipping a motorcycle is like like the drift in a car, throwing it and not throwing it so far that you can't bring it back. So both of those are the two that really hit home for me.
Yeah, and even when I
Interesting.
was a dog sledder, and you have 12 to 14 dogs in front of your sled, and you need to make it around, like ravine or a waterfall or whatnot, like a big hole. Like you got to use that momentum to use that momentum of the speed to get around it. So like a lot of that with drifting is really in the smoothness and the gliding, because the way Rudy drives is a lot more jerky and chaotic, and I'm very more like very smooth. Like when people ride with us, it's always very different.
She didn't call you out or anything right there. Don't worry about that.
She knows he
I'm
gets.
like,
She
what
knows
are
he
these
gets
moves
more.
for?
She knows he gets more doors.
Okay.
So the one thing too, going from 14 dog power to 400 horsepower is a big jump. But professional stuff aside, you brought this up, husband and wife team that both drives. What was one of the things that, I don't know, what was a positive when you guys were in the grassroots level of both being drivers? And then I know Rudy, you were progressing, but you still drove. And what's something that you wish you would did a little bit differently? Because I know there are more couples that are starting to get into driving. It's great. You can be able to spend more time together. You go to the track and be able to enjoy. What's some
Well,
maybe advice, again, plus and minus?
plus, I mean, well, I don't even know if I can answer that question directly, but I'm going to answer it in a different way. My Shelly brings a whole other aspect to the table of the way we drive. So honestly, like because she's so methodical and I'm so more. I drive. I can't say it's by the seat of my
You
pants.
do emotion.
I drive emotional and she drives methodical, and so we bring stuff to the table, and with her coach too. It's helped bring her more methodical side out, right? So
Hmm.
those things, and I think women are that way. They don't go off. They drive a little more conservative, but they drive with like intention. We drive with like our spirit. Like we're just like,
Absolutely.
geez, we're gonna like let it all hang out. They drive with like, okay, we're gonna like they have a reason for it. So it comes to the table. So she brings that to the table on every time we go out. So like she's gonna pipe up here in a minute. She's like she'll tell me the line. There's many times like I'll be like doing it, and it's not like I didn't know the line, but like it's like you're going to the Olympics and you don't drifting is you go to the Olympics and you don't have a coach because there's not coaches in drifting. There's a couple of people that know how to do it, but the people that are still teaching it, they still really aren't coaches that came from winning the Olympics. Freddie
Right.
is not teaching us yet. He's
Right.
not there yet. Like I mean, though
Well,
there's
Chelsea's starting to do it
Chelsea's
though.
Chelsea's starting to do it. There's only a couple of them, right, that are really these dudes that came from there that are teaching it. Um, but for the most part, we don't have those people in it. So um, we're lucky enough to have Shelley's charming personality to get Olaf to help her out, and it's kind of trickled down to me a little bit, but still, like she soaks it all up and brings a lot of that to the table. Whereas I drive with emotion, she drives with like a very very technical side of it. So and it brings the two of us together. I'm in the car with her, and I'm yelling, "Fucking hit him! Hit him!" I'm yelling at her to hit him, and she's like, "No, you need to smoothly go over here and blah 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 blah." But everything she brings to the table is needed for
Well,
me,
you copied my entry.
and then everything I bring to her, she can apply too. So
Yeah.
it's a very good, it's a very very good dynamic, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's nice because he spotted for me for pro am, and that took a minute to for him to kind of pick up how to do it. But I've been spotting for him pretty much all of FD, and I've learned a ton from that. And I'm really excited this year because now that I'll be driving, I'll be able to really like explain to him what to do or
Yeah,
what he's doing wrong.
yeah. Even more so to explain to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, same go. Yeah, right. I mean, we're both going to spot for each other. And
He's
then
more of a chase driver. I'm a better lead driver. If we were just one driver, we would be like, really?
Right.
Goodness great. Yeah. Yeah. Shelly, go out and lead. I was like, all right, Rudy, it's time to chase. Jump in the car and just do like a driver change in the middle of the run.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Being a female, I think our biggest downfall is that like we're made to have children, so like we're safer in general. Like, and I have to like really turn my mom brain off and like get aggressive, like kind of get my kickboxing on, and that's where it is a little harder. But like I feel I am learning that, especially with ice drifting. It's been really good for me because I can really get lap after lap of being comfortable next to a car, at a higher
Right.
speed. So
I mean, we're getting 200 plus laps a day.
You can't
yeah,
beat
and
that
it's
kind of
funny.
consistency in practice. There's very. I mean, the
Yeah.
sim. I know you guys brought that up. That's
Well,
kind of now my next topic. So
yeah.
sim drifting. What are your thoughts on it one by one? Do you guys sim a lot? Do you think it helps you? Is it difficult? What are your guys' thoughts?
Well, we've been on the ice, right, for like 3 weeks, and got on the sim today, and I was really humbled. I'll tell you that much. I was like, wow, okay, like that didn't come back as easy as I thought because I drive the sim at least 5 days a week.
Wow.
Yeah, so like I have a really good routine. I just basically I'll wake up, I work out, and then I get right on the sim. Before I do any work or anything like that, I take me time. I call it my me time. So I'm like the most
She's got to do
my
good, or
brain
we're not going to
works.
get any sponsors.
Yeah, I got to do good. A lot of pressure's on me. So I got I got to beat Rudy again. Did you know I beat him at Hot Pit?
I may or may not have liked that post when you definitely humbled your man to be able to. It was the lead. It was definitely the lead run. Let's just be honest.
That was right after that was the
First round for
first
that
wrap
for the
round
car
for
new
that
build.
car. Yeah, that we just built it together. So that was really kind of special that he was driving that car. And
Rudy, what's your thoughts on the sim?
It's a tool everybody needs to have. It really is. I have a ton of fun on it too. It took a minute. Like our sim setup was not
it was a
right.
journey.
It was a journey. It was like building a real car. Like
Yeah.
it took years to get it to work right, and only because I mean it's like me yeah, it's like me going back to buy that car from California, right? Had I had enough money to hire somebody and buy a real good sim and bring somebody in here to set it up for me, I would have been years ahead. We had a sim in our house for 2 years before I drove. We put like 40 hours on it, but it didn't work right. It was not felt like a
Wow.
computer. It was gross. We sold the one we had a Fanatec, and we drove
Okay.
it for a year. Wasn't right. Didn't feel good. Wasn't a
Yeah.
car.
It just
We
didn't.
we
It
sold
worked.
it,
It just didn't. I didn't feel like it was gonna make
gained
us
any
better.
value.
Yeah, like gonna.
So we sold it, bought another one. It's another Fanatec, newer one. It was 10% better. Sold it again. We bought a Semi-Cube, and that's been the move. Semi-Cube was Semi-Cube. It was a lot of money. But Rome pushed us onto it, and Olaf did. I think that's a Freddie drives too.
That's how we met Olaf. Actually, was getting the settings from that, and I asked him if he would coach Rudy, and he said no because he's already working with some other drivers.
Well, he told me he was too busy. But later that night, I went to bed, and they talked for like 4 hours. Her sweet little smile. The next day, she says he's
We're
coaching me.
really good friends.
Yeah, he's Olaf's super cool,
Yeah, we get
super smart. He brought a bunch of the rules side to the
like
Iron Drift
yeah.
King, and he's got this like other side to him that's super nerdy. That's so cool. That's so
He really wants to
fun
help. He
to
really wants to
interact
help,
with.
like with the judging regulations.
Mhm.
And just because drifting is becoming like we're becoming such better drivers, and that we almost need to kind of fine tune these definitions. What is a transition? Because all of us have kind of a different idea, which it didn't matter so much, but now that we're getting the proximity is getting closer, and we're getting so many one more times, it's kind of at that point where we need kind of a little.
Like simply says like yes to this simple question. I'll even answer this. How do you enter a zone?
How do you
Right?
fill a zone?
How do you fill a zone?
Yep.
Like, what's
What's the definition of filling a zone? Well, you're almost like that's the kind of the dumbest question ever, but like you feel it all the way deep at the very beginning, all the way to the end, right? Like, it's such a simple question and simple answer, but people they're still getting judged differently when they enter the zone on the more inside edge rather than all the way out, and yet you're getting judged the same way accordingly. So he's trying to make that like set in stone, that like you enter the zone at the wall side of the zone, and from the beginning of the zone. And so there's
Well, and the value in that versus the
Mhm.
value of entering it
midline.
midline. So as a driver, you can say to yourself, is it worth, to drive for the points wise, like where to place your car? What's the value in it? If it's just a negative one, maybe 1 point, versus 25 points. So a handbrake entry versus, a Manji entry. Like,
So
what is the value there? Because going and personally doing, multiple pro am series, I noticed that everybody has different rules. And I'm
Mhm.
like, no wonder we have all this drama at FD, because a driver comes from only doing these local events, and then they get a call that maybe they don't agree with, and then everybody locally maybe doesn't agree with it, and you kind of build this pack, and then there's a lot of drama over it, right? But
if they had a book, it would be so much better. Like something that somebody came up with, and Olaf's came up with it. It's getting better. Did you watch the Oman 2 nights ago?
I watched highlights. I didn't watch the full
They
event.
they now have which they stole from DMAC, a yellow box they put on the top of the car that measures the proximity, the angle, and the duration, and it's set on a computer, and it's super rad to see that we're gonna have some like real
It's
numbers
like a
of
yaw meter, isn't it? Like, I mean, being able to not just test the one car, but then the physical distance between both boxes.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean
So
the lights in FD. I mean, just in the last couple of years, you've seen how they've, instead of the front the brake strip and the foot braking and all that kind of stuff, the acceleration, the deceleration, the yellow, and hey, this is not a slowdown zone. Talk about just the rule books, even in the last 10 years, from FD 2015 to 2025. Of every year, we're changing into another thing, and just hear that someone like Olaf is being able to at least get this going and has something out. It's just, we're playing catch up every year because people are progressing at a rate that we just don't know
yeah,
how to keep up.
right.
yeah,
Well, and
for
like
sure.
we really need to make sure, because it all trickles down. Like FD's doing a great job; they really are. It's the trickle down that we got to take care of, because you know these people are coming up. We all need kind of an idea. Like from being people who travel so much and are
See
at so many different
all the
events.
different events.
Like,
Such a range.
it's so different, and like the driver's meeting can be like 4 hours long if you ask every question that you really need to.
Yeah.
Because like every place is different. Like sometimes it's okay if you spin out after the finish line, sometimes it's not. Some people they have no idea where even the initiation is,
For
or
the
something
entries,
weird happens, and then it's just up in the air because we don't have like a guideline to follow.
Right.
So it is kind of, it's just something that is very complicated.
Well, and it depends who's putting the series on. How did they come up? What are they used to? And then that becomes this standard for this series, and so on and
Right.
so forth. Not to
Right.
say somebody's wrong, because there was no rule book,
nope.
and that's
It's just
really
hard when
interesting.
they spend all their money to go to FD, and they think it's the one way, and you're like, bro, it's not like that, you know. So it's being adaptable and understanding that, and really asking a lot of questions and getting to know, like talking to the judges and really asking them what they like about your driving, what they don't like about your driving at each comp that you do at practice is really important.
From the pro-am side and some of these money comps like clutch kickers, CMD on our side of the United States is one thing, but going away from that, what is something that maybe, if you knew it now when you started driving at the grassroots level, that either would help you be a better driver, or help you with understanding the car, or just generally overall help your state of mind? What is one thing that you wish you did differently when you first started out?
What a shit box. This is the one thing that Matt Field said to me: buy a shit box and have a buddy buy a shit box, and then don't and just drive with each other and just run into each other. That's kind of what our ice drifting is like.
Yeah.
And
Two
Yeah.
cars, you can really get down and not have a lot of problems. It's when you
Mhm.
add three that you
Mhm.
get a total car.
Yep.
So
And
yeah.
and it's nice to have just a buddy who doesn't care when you hit him, and they're both junkers. And like he said to me at Drift Week, and I remember it to this day. He's like, you need to have a car that you don't care about, and have a buddy that you can run doors with, and you don't care what the cars look like at the end of the day, and he's on the same level as you, mentality level as you, and that will increase your proximity driving dramatically, because prior to that, you kind of care about your car, or you're driving with somebody else who cares about their car, and then when you hit them, like I've got mad at the other person for hitting me, right? So if you
Right.
just have that homie, which is your sweetheart, and you both have shitty cars, and that's like, honestly, I giggle when I hit her, and I mean, and I'm the
Well,
high.
that's why we got my blue car, because he kept pushing me around the track, and he was like, "We're gonna get you a faster car.
Yeah,
You're too slow."
but not even that though. Our 13s, I don't like running into each other with our 13s.
No.
They're so soft, and you can bend them so easy. The G's, I'll hit her. I'm not kidding. I'll hit her. I'll just hit her, and then I'll hit her, and then I'll hit her.
And then he has to give me a massage because my neck
It's
hurts.
I can't get enough. I can't get enough of like driving that way. Honestly, it's the funnest driving ever, and super fun when
We
somebody.
fight over who's gonna lead.
Yeah, because you're just you bounce off of each other. It's a different mentality. I do not drive that way in my 13s, and they got the wraps are so expensive, and the cars they bend tie rods a lot easier, and the wheel poke on them changes it. The fiberglass makes it so when you hit them, you go into them further and bend stuff a little more. The G's, I just, I'm very, very abusive to them, and they can just take it all. But the metal body panels help, and yeah, that's the number one thing I would say. Go buy some shit boxes and a friend, and just go do that, and then that's the funnest drift. Some of the funnest drifting ever. And
Shelly, would you agree, or is it something different for you?
what's that?
With Shelly, would you agree with him, or is something different?
Yeah, like it's really. I feel like a lot of people will try to get in a car that is kind of not a standard drift car you'd see out like on a track, and I get that, because being an artist, like you want to, like, understand wanting to have something different than everybody else. But when you're starting out, like, and you have a car that a lot of other people have there, they have those parts too. So like when you go to a track and you're paying for the money to be there, and you're just wanting to enjoy the driving, just it's so much better to have a car that other people have there, that you can work together with parts, and
Right.
and a car, like, buy a car that's already had the rear end messed up, like, I get it, like, but I also like the whole looking good too. But I think if you're learning, like, just accept that you're learning, and to be in a car that's like you're not going to quit in.
Yeah. Like like to interrupt here, like some of my funnest times, we were at Medford in my buddy's. Well, this was a 13, but it was a stock 13 with a KA, and it was running 215s, and it was night drifting, and a tire exploded and cracked his front window, and I'm not going to say he may or may not have been drinking. We went over to the pits, and we kicked the front
What?
windshield out of it, and threw the windshield onto the ground. I think one of us was drinking, not the driver wasn't.
No,
Kicked the
yeah, of
windshield
course.
out of it, and maybe some of it came out and some of it wouldn't, and we sawzalled the rest of the windshield out and went back out there on the course, and like kept just like running into, like, bouncing off of each other and other shit boxes. And that was like some of the funnest driving I've ever had, because you just didn't care about the car. And so I would say that's just keep that in mind, that you need to have two different kind of cars. Drifting is about looking cool and having fun. Like, it is about looking cool.
Yep.
It's a style sport, right? But you're not going to get good if the whole time you're worried about your car. So
Yeah, because you do see people that have the really nice cars, and
they won't tandem with you.
I mean, even when I'm in my nice car, I'm
I
really
won't tandem with
particular.
everybody.
Yeah, like I'm not. Yeah.
Well, you don't have to go out and like win practice either. There's the other side too. There's you go to these Medford events, and you do take your big boy and your big girl car, yeah, there's people may just want to get up and close, but you can have some really badass laps with like a half car in between you. You don't need to always be sucked up in on some of these party festival days, and maybe that's something to be able to think about too, guys. Is you don't always have to try to win practice.
Yeah,
Um,
I kind of do though.
Yeah, you kind of do.
we already know you drive with your heart, and it's definitely, you lay it all out there, but it makes for some exciting driving, right?
Yep, it does.
What
Yep.
is one thing that you're seeing? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
Yeah,
What is one thing you're seeing that's drifting is doing that you like, and what's something that you want drifting to do that's like you think would be a really great impact on the sport overall?
What is
It's a weird two-parter, I know. I'm sorry.
drifting that we like.
the one thing that I really dig about the drifting in general is just the how it brings, like, on the pro am level, is it brings everybody together. I feel like there's such a camaraderie between everybody, like, just like simply, I'm trying to remember the events, the example, and I'll probably come up on it later, but you know, just doing whatever, even if you're going to go up against them to get their car to go, so that you can drive with them, right? Because in pro, they act like it's kind of that way, but it's not anymore.
Well, it is, though.
It is, but it isn't. It is. I mean, Rome's still doing it, but the reality is everybody's there to win, and like the top guys are there to make it's a living. So it kind of goes away from that. You still have the guys that want that. Don't get me wrong. There's a handful of them, but the reality is they're there. It's a living for these guys, and if they're not winning, they don't have food on their
Right.
table. So there's the different side of it. Whereas in the pro am level, that everybody still is just there to help each other. Like, they're gonna go, like, I mean, even in Atlanta, I remember a team, we got out, and the minute we were out, I was over there wrenching. I took my whole team. I'm like, that guy needs our help. Let's go. And I'm like, they are new. They suck. They do not
Right.
know how to fix this 13. Let's go. And we went over there and pretty much pushed their team out of the way. Our team jumped in. We got it back on course. We went out there and battled, and like Kevin was super pumped on it. Like, he's like, thank you for getting those people back out there. Like, I think that was some of the pro-am mentality that came into the pro spec level of driving, right? Because
Right.
you just don't see that. The higher you go in the rank, the less that happens. So that's one thing I really dig about it. What's something that I don't know what I see that I wish they would do. I think I wish they'd do is back to the rule book. I wish they would somebody somehow would jump on board, and we can get like a really solidified rule book that came from the top down.
Or even just had somebody like in charge of pro-am that came from FD, who was like going to all the pro-am stuff. Just to kind of like make sure it's all kind of working.
That they could everybody was raised with the same rules.
Well, I know Kevin and a couple of guys from FD, they have to sanction the body to be able to allow them to have either a scouting report or licensing events. But past that, I mean, what's the block that they have to follow? I think I see what you're saying.
Yeah, they don't have a guidebook for the judging, right? Like they truly don't. They have the rule book for the spec of the car, but they don't really.
They do. Like, you have it's just vague. Like, it would just be nice to, like, have a little more of a definitions of
structure.
what it is, and it's a complicated thing, but it's just something that we need to figure out, but it's hard to figure out. Yeah.
You've got a lot of different people coming from a lot of different schools of thought or backgrounds, and I guess time will tell, which is kind of nice, just being able to see what works and what doesn't. So as far as what doesn't work, though, is I try to bring this up as much as I can, is takeovers. I'm a huge hater of takeovers. I think it's really ruining what it's doing to our sport as far as understanding the difference between whatever they're doing and drifting. If I was someone who brought up takeovers and called it drifting, how would you be able to educate somebody on the difference at like a basic entry level to help us look better as drifters?
Well, I think drifting and takeovers drifting is like a skilled form of of dancing and takeovers is just like, I mean, maybe drinking till you fall over. You know what I mean? Like,
I
it's
like
such,
that analogy.
it's so generic. I mean, granted, that's I think where every drifter came from, was probably going into a parking lot and spinning shitties, right? But then it escalated, obviously, for the takeover people to intersection, because they wanted more excitement out of it, and that's
Right.
why that's why we left. We did donuts in parking lots, and then we're like, okay, we need something more, right? And that, I mean, I did at 65 Chevelle that I did that too, but I think there's just
Yeah.
like
But
so
yeah.
much. There's so much to learn from drifting in like car control that doesn't come from takeovers. So I really
It is really scary because we travel a lot too, and I mean, these guys will come buzzing by our trailer, going like over 100 miles an hour down the interstate, and
Jeez.
it is really
It's scary.
scary. Like it is, yeah. So I mean, I don't even can't even like
That's
imagine relating the two, but like,
I really recommend for people that if they're doing the takeovers to come to the drift events and see what it's really like to feel like in your soul what it's like to really control your car past just doing a circle,
yeah,
because a circle is so generic feeling to linking a corner to the edge of the corner to another corner. There's something to be said for it. Honestly, I think there should be that kind of some level of driving in the snow, which is some kind of drifting for every driver in the world taught to you, so you know how to drive on the
Right.
ice. Because driving in a circle teaches you nothing about car control. It's so
yeah.
generic,
But
so
that
generic.
also like shows you why it's so important that these tracks don't shut down. Like look at Portland,
Yep.
losing their really their main track out there was like a big hit. I mean,
Right.
like that, a lot of the takeover stuff really got a lot worse even after that track closed. Because I think that a lot of those people would go to a track, especially maybe if the education of that was more out there too, like where to go and that you're all welcome here in any car, like and then we'll help you figure out. That's what's so cool about the community too, is like you can show up with any car and ask questions and people will help you.
Right. The
So
drifting community you're talking about, right?
Yeah,
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 yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
I don't know any. I've never been at a takeover. I don't really know much about them, but it's just sad it's just sad because like every time you see a track close, you're like, oh, it's gonna get worse
So
on the
it's
streets,
yep.
and it does get worse.
Well, and already being kind of not necessarily an isolated, but just a motorsport facility scarce area that you're in, every
Yeah,
track counts.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
you probably see it a little bit more than some of our people either in the South or in the Midwest. I know even Cletus, the Freedom Factory, they're having that subdivision war that's going on with like their city council and stuff like that. And if it's affecting someone as big as him, or even this Portland track, I mean, even the mom and pop stuff is probably on the chopping block too, unfortunately.
Yeah,
yeah,
well, I
But
mean, we
wanna
lost our closest track to us was a drag strip with a big circle track when we very, very first started, and it was a
really?
yeah,
super cool facility and been around from like the '60s. And it was kind of like losing Irwindale right out of the gate for us, and it was
Wow.
like 2 hours from home, and it was just super sad to see it to go to like a to
Amazon
Amazon
warehouses.
warehouse, right? And the next one
Oh
goes down to Amazon warehouse, the next one to Amazon warehouse. So I mean, it's a all I can say is if you have a track in your area, support all the events, go there. If everybody's going to the events, then for this small entry fee, it keeps the track open so that we all can enjoy it for the other events to come in the future.
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, $100, $85, $125. I mean, that's yeah, it's not a small amount of money, but on the other side of things, you can still have fun for a couple $100, and that's versus going a night out of partying or another hobby that you want to do. In the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot of money.
yeah, way cheaper than getting your car impounded and going to jail and getting bailed out and all that
Yeah,
and all the
Losing your
fees.
license, and then yeah, and then like all the
And you get
stuff
the
that
same amount of adrenaline, you really do. I mean,
Yeah.
it
And it's
kind of,
safer.
yeah. I mean, you might,
And it's safer.
yeah.
So one parting thing I do like to be able to ask all my guests is if there is one piece of advice, and I'm glad I got both of you because I really enjoy the balance that you guys have because you both bring some fantastic points to the table, and I wanna end on this. One point you could give to a new drifter to try to help motivate them to push themselves and then to just don't quit, don't stick with it. What's something you could be able to tell them?
I mean, I'm still gonna go back to that thing that Matt told me that one day. Go buy like if we're talking about like that's my funnest driving ever, and it's so contradictory to what I'll still tell you on the track because people come with these crappy cars and I'm like, make your car look good, make your car look good, but if you're at the beginning stages and you just want to drive, find your homie, get a crappy car, just get doors, and learn the proximity levels. I would say
Get
that
used tires.
that's what Jerry drifts. Yep, Jerry drifts from Utah. He had the crappiest cars forever. I don't know if you know who Jerry is,
He'll
but
be in Prospect next
he'll
year.
be in Prospect next year, and he is
Oh,
a
sweet.
phenomenal driver. Like he is so good,
So good.
and all of his cars have been shit boxes. And his new car, he's kept it in like one piece, and it looks really good, and it's looked good the whole season. But the reason why, he's just really been abusive to all of his other cars, learned proximity levels, and kind of and brought it from there. So I would say, back to that Matt Field statement: buy some shit boxes, go have some fun, find a buddy, make it a lot less stressful too.
For
I love
me,
it.
I would say like if you're trying to even go farther beyond grassroots is like to really just focus on small wins. I know it can be like really discouraging when you go to an event and you don't make the top 8 or top 16 but like if you
You
look
hit
at
the wall in Long Beach.
if you look back at what you did do well from the last event and you focus on that and you really like they really add up. They really do. Like you can't be really that hard on yourself. Like you're really gonna have a lot more failures than you are gonna have fails than you're gonna have wins in drifting. Like it's inevitable. Accept it. And then just like like really, for me, I like to write down my goals and on the refrigerator so I can see them every day. And then not just my goals, but what I have to do in that week to accomplish the goal. And then that way, when I go to bed, I think about what I'm doing tomorrow to accomplish my goal. So, like I stay on track. You know what I mean? Like it's really easy to get discouraged in drifting.
Yeah.
It can be really hard. Like it's really hard. It's a lot of work. It's very abusive on the cars. It's really hard to make money and be a competitive driver and balance your work and everything. And we're fortunate enough that we work for ourselves. And like these people who we're a little older, but like I mean, I didn't have a ton of money in my 20s, like to be able to do this.
Right.
So like, if you're doing that and you're drifting and you're in your 20s, even early 30s, good job. Like it's not easy. Like you're doing great. Don't overbuild your car because the more you overbuild it, the more expensive it will be. So you need to have the money for that. So just like be realistic with yourself. Like really try to drive not just your local events. Like make an effort at getting out and pushing yourself to drive 12 plus hours somewhere else. If you want to do FD, you say you live on the East Coast, you need to hook up your car, truck and trailer and drive to California for a 1-day event
Yep.
and see if you like it. Because that's what FD is. and only do 12 laps.
and
and
be
then drive
happy
home.
with it.
So like,
Yeah.
Yep.
before you commit to like, I'm gonna do this, like go get a taste of it. Like see if your truck and trailer even make it that far. Like there's a lot that goes into it that you're gonna learn and like be brave. Do what scares you because everything that comes into your life is coming into your life to get you to where you're supposed to be. And if you just take a deep breath and you face your fears and you have that courage and you just do that, you'll get there faster.
That two really great pieces of advice from I mean, again, you guys are inspirations just seeing in the short amount of time how much you've accomplished. I'm really excited to see both of you killing it out there on both levels of Formula Drift with a great field. But I think this is where I want to be able to let people know, how can we find out more about Team Hansen? Let's hear those social medias. Where can we find you guys?
Well, we are on Instagram. Rudy is Rudy Hansen.
119.
When I'm in his bio, because my name's kind of complicated to spell. My name's Shelly Hansen, but it's spelled with a C, so it's CHELLEE. That's me. Hansen, HANSEN. And then we're on Facebook, and then we have a YouTube. Well, we have a kind of starting out YouTube channel.
Just the ones that are on there are worth watching.
It's brewing,
Yeah.
because now that we're in FD, if I just need I think we have something going on here. It'd be fun to like do a little more on the inside scenes of the Hansens.
I need something to run my
Absolutely.
YouTube channel too.
Yeah, if you want to run a YouTube channel out there, anybody.
Yeah.
But there's never a dull moment with this man. Never a dull moment.
I mean, we got right now. It's like we're so busy to like even like run a YouTube channel. Like my car is getting a motor put in it right now. Her car has no motor in it. Like we both of them, everything completely gutted out of it. Wiring's going in about 3 days from now. Well, it's getting measured for wiring shortly, so
Yeah.
I feel like it's gonna be like always touch and go right to the very last minute of round one for Long Beach. So it's so hard to do socials and all that in all the above, right? Rather than alone than just driving the car. And we got to go test the car. So
So yeah, Instagram. I think we are on TikTok, but I don't know if that's still a thing. And but yeah, if you just basically, we have a great website, thdrifting.com, and that has our live schedule on it. You can also get access to like our merch store on there.
Buy some merch.
Yep, merchandise always helps us there.
Yep.
Next year, we're gonna be working with more with Ignition Speed, and our team shirts are really cool this year. I'm excited.
Yeah.
They're very different, and I think they're gonna be a big hit. And I just love our merch. We get to know so many people through it, and people just really like to collect stuff, and I like to make things that are fun to collect. Last year, I did a shirt for every round, which was really fun because nobody really does that besides FD. And I just like to collaborate with new artists and get their art out and have fun stuff for everybody to wear. That's kind of fun.
So. Well, yeah, at the day we're filming this episode, I'm looking at my calendar. Yeah, Rudy, I think it's like 62 days until you got to be in Long Beach there, big boy. And then Shelly, I know Atlanta is not exactly that much further after that. So I don't want to keep you guys... I don't want to keep you guys more than we already have. You guys have been phenomenal guests. Again, thank you guys so much for being on this. For those of you who want to find more information on them, go to their socials, go to their website, buy the merch, say hi to them at the FD events. They're obviously cool people, and you can ask them all the wonderful questions. But other than that...
bring the kids over to the car. They can get in the cars. We love it when the kids come over. So
yeah. And I have a really cute... I made the M-Frix car, but in wood. So you can stick your eyeballs through it and take a photo. So that's fun too. We have a lot of fun kid stuff. And
we give away tons of merchandise during the activation between top 16 and top 32. Help promote some of our partners and like just give away free stuff. And we had squirt gun fights and spark plug competitions and all sorts of different fun things. I feel like we did a pretty good job at our top 16, top 32.
And please cheer for us because any kind of vibes are good.
Anything's good, right?
Yeah, that always helps for sure.
Shout out to Team Hansen. No, I'll make sure to say hi to you guys when I come up for FD English Town. I'll be walking around. I'm looking forward to seeing you both, and both of you will be throwing down. So the double trouble Hansen weekend. So
again. We'll do some laps on the well. This is the first time we'll have two cars to be able to drive together on the road course, the Bro Down. So that'll be super fun. We'll throw down some laps for everybody. Everyone loves to see that. So
the Sunday Pro Bro Down is fantastic. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am Chris DeBoard. You can find me at Diva the Comic on Instagram, Chris DeBoard on Facebook, and you are watching The Dirt Drop on YouTube. We will see you on the next Dirt Drop. Have a great day, guys.
Thank you.